Buongiorno e benvenuti a questo evento di Ateneo per celebrare la Giornata Mondiale per la Diversità Culturale, per il Dialogo e lo Sviluppo. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this University of Rome Tor Vergata event to celebrate the World Day for Cultural Diversity, for Dialogue and Development. Io parlerò un po' in italiano, un po' in inglese e soprattutto in inglese dopo, quando avremo interlocutori che non parlano italiano, ma in questa fase voglio solo dire, chiaramente la giornata mondiale è stata indetta dalle Nazioni Unite nel 2002, nel 2001 già l'UNESCO aveva fatto una dichiarazione, aveva adottato una dichiarazione solenne di principi sul valore della diversità culturale, e questa giornata ci fa riflettere sul valore della diversità culturale per il dialogo e lo sviluppo. Nell'Ateneo, nella comunità accademica dell'Ateneo innanzitutto, quindi è un evento non disciplinare, è un evento volto a conoscerci meglio come comunità tra di noi, ma anche aprirci all'esterno con uno streaming peraltro aperto, perché questa diversità culturale porta gioia, porta opportunità di sviluppo, e non solo, di sviluppo di società ma anche personale. Allora, partner importanti di questa iniziativa fin dall'inizio sono il Comitato Unico di Garanzia dell'Ateneo, che è chiaramente diciamo il rettorato per quanto riguarda l'internazionalizzazione, che sono qui presenti, e non dirò altro su questo perché lo diranno direttamente loro. Invece non potevano essere presenti oggi, e quindi porto i saluti anche del delegato per l'inclusione del rettorato, che è Barbara Mantini, che purtroppo si ritrova sempre a insegnare a un dottorato alla Sapienza in questo periodo, ma ci ha mandato il saluto scritto, e porto anche il saluto del Centro di Studi Giuridici di Comperdonne, che pure dall'inizio è partner di questa iniziativa. Mi fa piacere ricordare che 6 anni fa, all'evento di lancio, diciamo così, ce l'ha portato Claudio Franchini, il saluto di questo centro, un amatissimo collega che purtroppo non c'è più e ci ha lasciato prematuramente. Adesso invece coordinatrice Agata Amato, che appunto non poteva esserci ma lascia il suo saluto, e anche una promessa di collaborazione, perché vedremo che alcuni di questi contenuti che vedremo oggi hanno molto a che vedere con il ruolo delle donne in alcune parti del mondo, la figura della donna, e quindi è molto interessata anche a continuare magari a dare diffusione a questi contenuti. Ho detto anche troppo, e quindi qui abbiamo con noi Bianca Sulpasso, che ci porta il saluto dell'internazionalizzazione dell'università.
Come delegata del rettore, quindi allora io prima di tutto vorrei ringraziare, ma non come diciamo in versione formale, ma in versione proprio sentita, Federica Mucci. Questo evento va avanti da diversi anni, ogni anno cresce, lievita, si diventa sempre un impegno importante. Lei riesce a raccordare tante anime. Quest'anno diciamo abbiamo appena sentito, ci sono delle ulteriori novità, ci sono sempre colleghi nuovi. Per me essere qui e vedere questi ragazzi, alcuni dei nostri studenti internazionali, è una delle cose, diciamo, più belle, no? Questa diversità che poi noi respiriamo tutti i giorni. E devo parlare in italiano o in inglese, non ho ancora capito.
You can switch from one to the other as you wish.
So sorry, I wanted to thank you very much for being here. As a Rector Delegate for International Affairs, I'm really happy and proud, and I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Professor Mucci here with us. And we are talking about diversity. We are a university with around 130 different nations. So you walk into our university and you can study, you know very well, with different students coming from different countries. This is the first moment, I think, of internationalization, no? When you study with other students, and I think this is one of the biggest enrichment of our community. And we are a university, but a university, what is a university? First of all, is different minds. No? So it's not just the country where we come from, but also the mind, the different backgrounds, different languages, and different life experience. And it's not just, diversity is not just a box to tick, it is not a policy statement. It is in the real life, no? What you're doing today, what we are doing every year, but what we are doing in our everyday life, that we somehow try to understand the other, right? And you come from different countries and you come, it's like if you take here different question also, no? To different, I cannot be with you the whole time, unfortunately, because I am in a partnership. We are working with a very big amount of partners, 41 in Italy, to do what? To try to understand how better to welcome international students. So you see, and how we can better welcome international students, try to understand better diversity. I'm not going to, I usually write something because otherwise I'm going to speak too much, but I want to say that today is a chance to celebrate this, to listen to each other, to learn to each other. And I think that I've been always working. I was born in another country. I live in Italy, and I'm working with another country. I mean, I was born in the States. I'm Italian also. I've been studying here, but also in Russia, because so my life, it has always been говорите по-русски. Я вижу, что кто-то говорит по-русски here. No, but the fact I wanted to say that since I'm working as a rector delegate, I really see the importance of the diversity and how it's changing also year by year. I want to give you some dates. We have been facing, and Federica knows very well, she's doing an amazing job with the degree of tourism and strategy and Made in Italy, where we have lots of international students. And yes, exactly. But the fact is, I'm going to a point, don't worry. What I want to say is that we have been facing worse problems, geopolitical problems, but as a university, in any case, we have been open. And I can tell you this not just by words, not just saying that, but for example, since last year, we have the number of international students increased very much. This is for me not important just because I have to write and to say, okay, I have a good number, so 500 more or something. It is important to me because it's a sign that we can really do something together, and it's a win-win for everybody and for the university. So thank you to everybody for being here. I'm really passionate and emotional for this, because for me it's really important, not just because I'm rector delegate, but I really believe in it. So please let this day a day to celebrate, but also another moment to go on for our project. So thank you, Federica. Thank you to my colleague and to all of you. And sorry for not being here the whole time, but I have this project that is related to you and to diversity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bianca. We know that we are very happy that you are here.
Until 11, I'll be here. And
okay.
After I will go upstairs.
For a while, at least.
Yes,
this means a lot for us. Emanuele Dettori, professor Dettori, ci porta il saluto del pubblico.
Allora, buongiorno a tutti, io sono appunto Emanuele Dettori, sono il vicepresidente del Comitato Unico di Garanzia. Il Comitato Unico di Garanzia ha queste tematiche al suo core, diciamo, e aveva anche una commissione interna specificamente dedicata alle questioni delle differenze culturali e dell'incontro tra culture. E io mi ricordo di aver partecipato all'organizzazione non fino alla fine per problemi personali della prima edizione di 6 anni fa, e sono molto contento di poter in qualche maniera salutare questa 6ª edizione. naturalmente il CUG e il Comitato Unico di Garanzia è grato a Federica Mucci per il suo impegno sull'organizzazione di questo tipo di manifestazione che cioè veramente, diciamo, radicale, ecco, per l'università radicale intendo nel senso fa parte della radici di un'università. Ecco, una sola considerazione di carattere generale è che in effetti questa è, se uno ci pensa bene, uno dei risultati positivi, delle manifestazioni positive di quel concetto, fenomeno abbastanza controverso che è la globalizzazione. Cioè noi siamo qui perché è cambiato il mondo in questi, diciamo, dico una cifra un po' arbitraria, in questi 30 anni, e per noi è doveroso ma allo stesso tempo normale, ecco, fare cose di questo genere, per noi intendo dire per una comunità universitaria. E anche il fatto che noi siamo qui fisicamente in pochi, però siamo, come dire, connessi con tutti quelli che vogliono ascoltarci, tutti coloro che hanno la volontà di partecipare appunto a un evento che mette in contatto culture diverse. Ecco, questo è un effetto non solo, diciamo, del progresso tecnico, cioè del fatto che possiamo elettronicamente connetterci, ma anche della volontà delle persone. Ecco, e questo è almeno la cosa che a me è la cosa di fondo, insomma, la cosa più importante a livello generale di questo tipo di iniziative. Quindi buon lavoro a tutti e godiamoci. Enjoy this event.
Grazie. Grazie molto Emanuele, enjoy è veramente la parola giusta, perché diversità culturale è un fatto, ma è anche un valore, però ci sono tanti problemi naturalmente che possono nascere anche dalla incomprensione tra le diversità delle culture, ma non è di questo che noi vogliamo parlare oggi, lo sappiamo che esistono anche questi problemi, noi però li vogliamo superare i problemi, noi di oggi parliamo della diversità culturale che è una ricchezza, che è una gioia per tutti noi, e soprattutto quello, è quello. Il dialogo. Ecco, e quindi enjoy è proprio la parola giusta. Grazie Emanuele. Abbiamo sentito parlare, we heard about this cultural heritage, tourist strategy, cultural heritage, and made in Italy, Master of Arts of Tor Vergata. Well, at the beginning, 6 years ago, I was alone, not alone. I was with a number of colleagues, of interested people, but I was working mainly myself on this. But then I asked myself, this is with students, mainly for students, also for the whole academic community. We should involve students in the work of the organization of the day. And so it's some years now that we have a number of students engaged in the preparation of the event. At the beginning, only in spring term, with an internship, an internal internship of the university. And then we added an autumn group to this, because the spring group is working to realize the contents that we show in the event, while the autumn group is working in post-production, let's say, and programming, other initiatives, new sections, new ideas for the future. And so we have a number of students, not so small now, working for these events. And this year, this spring, 5 students were involved, all of them of this Master of Arts we were speaking of. And so I would like them to introduce briefly themselves, strictly in alphabetical order. And so we have the first 2 that are Amer and Inkar. Oh, sorry, Aichurok. The beauty of the direct. So, Aichurok and Aimer, please go on.
Hello, my name is Aichurok Obozbekova and I'm from Kyrgyzstan. and I'm very pleased to be participating in the World Day for Cultural Diversity event in Vergata, and I decided to participate in this event, in this internship, because it seems very close to my thesis work, and as well I wanted to commit in the presenting of the awareness of the Kyrgyz culture.
Thank you, Ajra.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amer Megativ. I'm from Iran. I'm very happy and pleased to be here on the World Day of Cultural Diversity and Dialogue and Development. I decided to join this group and internship because I believe cultural diversity helps people to understand better each other, and it brings the community closer together. I also wanted to gain some experience and work with people from different cultures with different perspectives and backgrounds.
Thank you so much. And now we have Inker and Karim. Please come here. Sorry for the mistake before.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kanayim. I'm from Kyrgyzstan, Bishkek, and I'm participating in the cultural diversity project to get more about other cultures, also share my traditions, and also I promote respect and dialogue among the people.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Inkar, and I'm originally from Kazakhstan. And I'm very pleased to join this event dedicated to World Day for Cultural Diversity. I wanted to join this project because I am personally experiencing cultural diversity every day because I'm an international student studying in Italy, and I believe that this event can create a space where different cultures can be understood and appreciated.
Thank you so much. And now I call here Nilufar, who is the last of the group, last but not least of the group of internship students, but also Christophe, who is not an internship student. We will discover who is. Please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nilufar Zakhidova. I'm from Uzbekistan, and today I'm sitting here. I'm very happy because I decided to participate in this event because I have very deep respect toward Vergata University, and I applied here on purpose. And all I wanted is to be useful, to use all my skills, and to make my contribution to the development of this university and to the development of this exact project.
Thank you, Nilufar. And now Christophe is not a student, he's a very young visiting colleague from abroad. And then we will discover why he's here later on. Very well.
Buongiorno, good morning, everyone. My name is Christoph. I'm originally from Bavaria in Germany, but I'm an assistant professor in international law at the University of A Coruña in Galicia, Spain. And I'm here for a research stay on precisely cultural diversity. So it's a great opportunity now to participate also in this day and to celebrate cultural diversity this way.
Thank you so much, Christophe. This was very quick, but we will have occasion of knowing better later on all of these very interesting people that we have seen very briefly now. And so now we open a section that is not new. It was the first, the most important one. It stays a very important, maybe the most important one of this event. That is, how could we celebrate cultural diversity in the best way? We thought that arts was the best way, okay? Because clearly arts is an universal language. And so we thought that since we didn't want to speak of art in a disciplinary way, we wanted to speak of the cultural identity of people within the academic community of Tor Vergata. And so we thought that each one brings his or her own cultural background, identity, and maybe in such a big number of students that we have in the university, maybe some of them know some artists, are willing, know very well this kind of art, because they don't just know it because they know of it, but because they know the person who is doing that. And so clearly they bring with themselves this kind of art, even though they are not the artist. Okay. And so interviews among people, between people that are presented by our students. And each year we have a number. It's not the fixed number. It depends on how many proposals we receive, because we ask all the academic community. And then sometimes we had 4, 5, 10. One year we had 10 proposals and we had to present them cutting, because clearly 10 interviews recorded, we record them. And so could become very long sometimes. This time we have 2. And so we could afford to leave them also a little bit longer. And so we are presenting now these 2 interviews. But it's not me presenting the interviews. I just introduced the students who worked for that, who proposed this. And so, Aichirok and Kanai. Aichirok worked on the editing of this interview. Please, would you tell us something about this experience and then introduce the interview?
Yes, thank you very much. As the editor of the interview, I faced several challenges because the video and the interview itself was a little bit longer than we expected. And the artist gave a lot of deep and meaningful background about the Kyrgyz culture, and it was very necessary to keep these explanations by the artist, but at the same time to keep in time, and we had certain limited times for the video and the of the interview, and so the artist wanted international audience to fully understand the cultural message in her work. And for me personally, the hardest part was shortening the video while keeping its main meaning. And I had to carefully choose what to cut without losing the most important cultural and emotional moments of the interview. But meanwhile, this experience taught me that editing is not just a technical work, but it's also creative and responsible. That the editor must balance time management while still respecting and preserving the speaker's main message. Now I would like to ask Kanaim why she decided to present this artist, and with the Vergata University.
Okay, I decided to propose an interview with a actually Kyrgyz digital artist. Her name is Benazir Kaliyeva. In my opinion, the role of artists and creative people is especially important because because art helps convey emotions, feelings, history, and cultural values in a language that everyone can understand. And I would like to share this interview with the academic community of Tor Vergata because it could offer students and researchers a deeper understanding of contemporary Kyrgyz culture, and also digital creativity and the social impact of art in today's globalized world.
Thank you so much. And so let's see the interview. So I think we are experiencing technical problems, hoping to solve them as soon as possible. How do we go on? We go on with the next interview. So it was very interesting. Thanks to the artist who could not connect to be, let's say, live with us today. But we are very thankful for the availability to join us in our academic community, even though with recording, but it took a long time. I know there's a lot of work behind it. Thank you so much. And so we switch to the second interview, and I give you the word.
For the second interview. So for the second interview, it's realized by my colleague Inkar. Inkar, would you please briefly tell us about who is the interviewee and why did you want to share this interview with the academic community of Tor Vergata University?
My name is Amer. I'm a student at Tor Vergata University in Rome. Today we have the pleasure.
His name is Asanale Kusherov, and it was very important to me because his art and he personally represents the culture, and his art carries the identity and history of Kazakh people. And I wanted to share this interview with the academic community of University of Rome Tor Vergata because I wanted to celebrate the diversity and to create connections through music.
And music is a universal language.
Yes, of course.
So let's see the interview.
Hello, my name is Amer. I'm a student at Tor Vergata. Today we have the pleasure to speak with an amazing artist from Kazakhstan. I'll hand over the rest of the interview to my colleague Inkar. Inkar, you have the word.
Сәлеметсіздер ме? Менің атым Іңкар, Тор Вергата университетінің 2-ші курс студентімін. Бүгін біз Қазақстаннан келген дәстүрлі және заманауи музыканы үйлестіре отырып, өнер көрсететін талантты әншімен кездесіп отырмыз. Алдымен өзіңізді таныстырып, музыка жолыңыз қалай басталғаны туралы айтып берсеңіз.
Сәлеметсіздер ме, құрметті көрермендер? Менің аты жөнім Асанәлі Көшеров, Таңатарұлы, Қазақстаннан, Маңғыстау облысы Ақтау қаласынан. Жұмыс орным жасайтын Маңғыстау облыстық Мұрат Өскінбаев атындағы филармонияда әнші ретінде қызмет жасаймын. Ақжарма фольклорлық ансамблі және Абыл Тарағұлы атындағы ұлт аспаптар оркестрінің әншісімін.
Қиялдан жиектеген үстіңнен қызармадым, кез боп қалса ертелі сенен көзді алмадым. Өзгені емес, өзіңін ойлап жүдедім, түсіңдерден бір қазақтың жүрегін сырғадым.
Өнерге келген уақыты мен бала кезден, кішкентай кезімізден өнерге әуес болдық. Бейнеу ауданында Маңғыстау облысында балалар музыка мектебінде домбыра классынан тәлім алдым 5 жыл. Ұстазымыз Кенжеғали Тілеубеков деген ағайымыз болды. Содан басталды, сонау 80 жылдардан бастап. Содан кейінгі Халил Досмұхамедов атындағы университетінде дәстүрлі ән классында бітірдім. 1999 жылдан бері осы облыстық филармонияда қызмет етіп келемін. 27 жыл болды.
Өзіңізді таныстырып бергеніңізге рахмет. Енді келесі сұрақты қойсам, сіз қазақтың дәстүрлі әндерін де заманауи музыканы да орындайсыз. Осы екі бағытты қалай үйлестіресіз?
Дәстүрлі әндер деген өзіміздің баяғыдан келе жатқан қазақтың қанында бар өнер ғой. Оны енді мектеп қабырғасынан бастап, күй өнерінен бастап, дәстүрлі ән, жыр терме үйрендік. өсе келе қазіргі заманауи әндерге ауысты. Бұл енді заманға сай әдемі әндерге орындауға құштарлықтан олар қазіргі шығып жатқан жақсы әндердің кейінгі композиторлардың әннің әдемілігінен, көркемдігінен екеуін ұштастырып алып жүрміз. Дәстүрлі өнермен, әнмен қазіргі заманауи әндерді қосып.
Иә, керемет. Ал сіздің соңғы жарыққа шыққан әніңіз бар, және де сол туралы кішкене толығырақ айтсаңыз, және сол әндеріңіз арқылы тыңдармандарға жеткізгіңіз келетін негізгі ой немесе сезім қандай?
Жаңа өзеннің жігіттері деген патриоттық ән есебінде ғой. Ұлттық рухты көтеретін, патриоттық рухты көтеретін сондай мәтіндегі ән ғой. Жаңа өзеннің батыр жігіттері туралы қазақтың. Жалпы енді жаңа өзендік деп айтқанмен жалпы қазақтың батыр азаматтары туралы айтылған ән ғой. Қазағымыздың елге қызмет ететін, елдің қамын ойлайтын, жердің қамын ойлайтын азаматтары көп болсын деген сондай ниетпен жазылған әндер. Жақында тағы бір жай махаббат туралы ән де жаздым ғой.
Иә.
Сағынармыз деген. Ол ән де бар. Ол енді сірә лирика ғой, махаббат туралы. Жастық шақтың баяғы сондай сағынудан шыққан ән ғой.
Жақсы, рахмет. Енді гастрольдік сапарларыңыз туралы сұрайын деп едім. Шетелге сапарларыңыз музыкаға деген көзқарастарыңызды өзгертті ме? Себебі гастрольге әртүрлі елдерге жиі барып тұрасыз.
Енді шетелде гастрольге шыққанда әртүрлі елдердің музыкасын тыңдайсың, әртүрлі елдердің мәдениетін көресің, әртүрлі елдердің тұрмыс салтын көресің. Жалпы енді музыканың биік шыңдарына шыққан, мысалға Европа елдерінде, Австрия, Франция, басқа да тағы елдерінде болғанда, шынымен үлкен музыкаға деген құрметті сезінесің, музыкаға деген үлкен қошеметті сезінесің. Музыканың үлкен ұлы нәрсе екен, халықтың ең биік қазынасы екенін білдіретін сондайды сезінесің. Өйткені Европада ежелден мыңдаған жыл бұрында өнер үшін зәулім сарайлар салған, зәулім амфитеатрлар салған өнерпаздар үшін. Сондай құрметті көресің. Сонда сол музыканың, өнердің биіктігін байқайсың.
Енді өзіңіздің өнеріңіздің бір бөлігін көрсетіп, бір ән орындап берсеңіз.
Иә, мынау енді әдемі қазақтың композиторы Әсет Бейсеуовтің Ақкөлден ұшқан аққулар деген ән орындап берейін, үзіндісін қабыл алыңыздар. Ақкөлден ұшқан аққулар, қай жаққа қанат қақтыңдар, қай жақтан тағат таптыңдар, айналып қайта қоныңдар. Ақкөлден ұшқан аққулар, аққулар әні елімнің, аққулар сәні көлімнің, аққулар әні, аққулар сәні елімнің. Белдерге қарай беттеңдер, көлдерді тастап кетпеңдер, алысқа сапар шекпеңдер, бір жасап қалсын мәзі болып, сендермен бірге көк пен жер. Аққулар әні елімнің, аққулар сәні көлімнің, Аққулар әні, аққулар сәні елімінің.
Енді бір-екі сұраққа, оның біреуі, музыка халықтарды жақындастыра алады ма, сіздің ойыңызша?
Әрине, музыка халықтарды жақындастырады. Өйткені музыкада шекара болмайды деген сөз бар ғой. Шекара жоқ. Өйткені халықтың бәрінің ол сезімнен шығатын нәрсе ол музыка деген. Үлкен сезімнен. Барлық халықтың сезімі бірдей деп ойлаймын. Бәрінде де махаббат деген, елге махаббат, жерге махаббат, адамға махаббат, жалпы өмірге деген махаббат, сондайдан шығатын нәрсе ол барлық халықта бар сезім ғой. Сол мысалға бүкіл дүние жүзіне таралған әйгілі композиторлар, солардың музыкалары бүкіл әлемге тараған. Мысалға Европанікі болсын, басқа жақты болсын. Сол арқылы халықтар бір-бірін таниды, бір-бірін жақсы көреді, бір-біріне үлкен қошемет білдіреді. Мысалға өзіміздің де қазіргі шығып жатқан әншіміз Димашты алсақ, бүкіл әлемге елімізді танытып, еліміздің өнерін танытып, сондай қазір сол арқылы біздің Қазақстанды көптеген елдер, мемлекеттер біліп жатыр. Ежелден келе жатқан атақты Европаның композиторлары, Бах, Бетховен, Моцарт болсын, мысалға сол арқылы біздер Европаны жақсы танимыз ғой. Сол сияқты музыка халықтарды жақындастырады.
Енді келесі сұрақты қояйын. Ол музыка мәдениеттер арасында диалог орнатуға қалай көмектеседі? Яғни олар бір-бірінің тілін түсінбесе де, сезімдерін түсінеді.
Енді музыканың диалогы деген сөз, жаңа айтқан, құлақтан кіріп бойды алатын әуен ғой енді. Ол мысалға бүкіл жер бетіндегі халыққа ортақ деп ойлаймын. Үлкен ұлы сезімнен шыққан әуен музыка деген. Көрші елден жақсы ән шықса, оны өзіне қабылдау, мысалға әр басқа мемлекеттердің, елдердің қабылдауы, сол уже диалог болып есептейді. Ұлы композиторлардың баяғыдан келе жатқан біздерде орындап жүр ғой. Музыка мектебінде болсын, басқа үлкен сахналарда біздің Қазақстанның. Сол уже диалог деп есептеуге болады. Сол басқа жақтың шығармаларын орындаса, мысалы Европаның, Американың или басқа әндерін, или музыкаларын, классикалық болсын, қазіргі эстрадный болсын, соларды уже орындалса бір-бірінікін, ол уже диалог деген есепті. Мынау мысалға Әзербайжанның әні, мынау түріктің әні деп, или мынау мысалға ағылшынның әні деп орындап жатыр ғой бір-бірін. Сол мысалға уже диалог есебінде да. Италияның әні мысалы. Lasciatemi cantare con la chitarra in mano. Уже диалог. Мысалы Италия мен біздің қазақтың да. Сол сияқты.
Жақсы, керемет. Осы әсерлі әңгіме үшін бізбен сұхбаттасуға уақыт бөліп келіп отырғаныңызға өте үлкен рахмет. Және де аяқтамас бұрын сұхбатымызды сізден бір өтінішіміз бар еді. Vergata студенттеріне қазақ тілінде қысқа сәлемдеме жолдасаңыз.
Сіздерге де рахмет, осындай бізге көңіл бөліп, Қазақстанда осындай өнерпаздар бар деп интервью алып жатқандарыңызға. Өмірлеріңізде тек музыка шарықтай берсін, айтады ғой. Тал бесіктен туғаннан өлгенше дейін жаңағыдай музыка тербетеді деп адамды. Сол сияқты музыка адамға үлкен өмірге сән беретін, мән беретін нәрсе ғой. Енді Vergata студенттеріне Қазақстаннан, соның ішінде Маңғыстау облысынан, Ақтау қаласынан жалынды сәлем айтамыз. Баршаңызға зор денсаулық тілеймін, ұзақ ғұмыр тілеймін. Ата-аналарыңды, халықтарыңды қуанта беріңіздер. Білім жолында жүрген талаптарыңызға нұр жаусын. үлкен табысты маман иесі болыңыздар, бақытты болыңыздар. Сол барлық жақсылықтар тілеймін.
Here we are. So it was really beautiful. And again, thanks to the artist who participated and also gifted us with his wonderful voice live, not only recorded. And now, after interviews with artists, we switch to another part of our contents that's not so old as old for this initiative as the interviews with artists. It's relatively new. We started with this part of the contents last year, and we go on this year. Contents about research activities and also didactic sometimes activities going on in the university that have a lot to do with cultural diversity. And so now we have two presentations, let's say, one live, the first one is here, live, about research activity. And we know better about Dr. Christoph Rudolf Schrein-Moser because he will be interviewed by our students about his research stay here in Tor Vergata. So I leave the word to the interviewers and to the interviewed. And we have first Tinker, then Amer, and then Aishrock putting questions to Dr. Schrein-Moser.
So let me start asking the questions. First question is...
Louder, please, Tinker. Great.
Why did you choose University of Rome Tor Vergata and Federica Amici for this research collaboration?
Thank you very much, Inka, for this question. It was actually quite a coincidence because when I did almost a year ago, some research about cultural diversity, and I just finished my PhD on protection of intangible cultural heritage, and I tried to endeavor into new fields of research, and one was the connection between cultural diversity and sustainable development. And then in this search for literature, I found a book edited by Professor Mucci with a colleague on Serena Facci, exactly, on the relationship between the intangible dimension of cultural heritage and the tangible, l'intangibile and the tangibile. And I found this book very interesting, and given that it was open access, I could access it easily. That's also interesting to see the connection, how open access democratizes the exchange of knowledge, which in the end is an important basis, I think, for cultural diversity, in particular for dialogue. And that is how I ended up here. So I didn't know Professor Mucci before, but after reading the book, I contacted her and asked her if she would be willing to host me here, and she kindly agreed, and that's how we started to work together.
Thank you.
So I'll continue with the rest of the questions. As we read your doctoral research, you focused on protecting intangible cultural heritage from intentional destruction. Would you please tell us what intangible cultural heritage means to you?
Thank you. I think it's, of course, not easy to answer quickly to that, given that it's a very broad concept. But generally, what I think is the core of intangible heritage, maybe in difference to what we see as more tangible elements of heritage, of monuments, of buildings, of works of art. You know, it's the idea that it's that tangible heritage are living cultural practices, you know, that hold a meaning for the Bera community, that hold a meaning for the people that practice it, that see it, that participate in, that share it. And I think that is fundamentally what I find also the most interesting about intangible cultural heritage is that it's directly related to the people. No, it's at the heart of the people and their identity. And I think that is what makes intangible heritage and all the practices, traditions, expressions, skills, forms of knowledge, and fundamentally ways of life, what makes it so interesting. And of course, directly related also to cultural diversity. You know, as the UNESCO Convention says, it's a mainspring of cultural diversity.
Thank you so much. And for the second question, what do you think are the biggest threats that facing cultural heritage in all around the world?
I think there's a quite broad list currently of, or always was, of issues, no? But maybe one, of course, we have conflict, political instability, and so on. That is, of course, always detrimental to culture, unfortunately, and to heritage. We have now, more recently, we can see more the impacts of climate change, both on the preservation, conservation of tangible culture heritage, but also intangible practices, particularly when people are displaced, are forced to leave their homes and cannot continue to practice very often the intangible cultural heritage. With that related, particularly, we also have ignorance and prejudice towards cultural practices. That's precisely why base initiatives like today, I think, of intercultural dialogue are so important, no, to overcome those prejudices. And then finally, a very interesting topic that we're only seeing to explore is, of course, the impact of artificial intelligence on culture and heritage, which can be both positive in the way of facilitating access, for example, to culture, but maybe also pose a threat, no? And particularly when it comes to the promotion of certain already dominant expressions, cultural expressions, over the full array of the diversity of cultural expressions. So I think that also can be both an opportunity and also a threat.
Thank you so much. And you teach and work in different languages, which including English, Spanish, Galician, and German. Do you think that language shapes the way that people understand culture and international cooperation?
A very good question. Yes, I do. I think it profoundly shapes how we perceive the world, how we cooperate with other people, because I think language is not only a tool of communication, but rather it carries also different historical experience, different life experience, different social values, and fundamentally also different worldviews. No? And when I have learned, so my field is international law, of course, language and concepts and words are very important for us, and like teaching and researching in different languages, I've seen that concepts, words that I have thought whose meaning was universally shared, appears that people, depending on their cultural and linguistic background, interpret them slightly, but sometimes significantly in different manners. No? And so I think that was very interesting to see how cooperation and law is shaped and seen differently depending on the cultural and linguistic context. And at the same time, I think, therefore, also multilingualism can facilitate cooperation and dialogue because it requires, or it encourages, better said, a certain openness towards different perspectives, to different cultures. And that's the fundamental basis for every dialogue and cooperation.
Thank you so much. And the last question will be held by Inkar. Sorry, I should.
I will be like a remake.
We make a mistake on this.
Maybe I think that the curse of today has more.
So I should know.
Yeah, I should. So basically, we will learn more about our names in the next.
A lot more, yes.
And hopefully, we'll memorize everything. Okay, thank you very much. As it was said before, that I'm currently working on my thesis, and it's about the UNESCO creative cities as a priority for local development. I'm making a comparative analysis of Biella and Kanazawa. So my question is, how do you think do creative cities encourage real cultural exchange between communities internationally, or are the connection mostly symbolic?
Thank you very much, Aichulok. I think it's a very fascinating topic for a thesis. And I think, so on the one hand, I think the Creative Cities initiative, I think, is very meaningful, no? Because it harnesses the potential of culture and creative industries for sustainable urban development. And that's also very often a dimension, a cultural dimension of development that is overlooked. So I think the initiative is very significant. I mean, it has also, as you very well know, already quite a very broad network and a long history already. When it comes, of course, to the exchange, I think it has both a symbolic and a practical dimension for sure. No, it's symbolically already important that cities that share this idea, this common understanding of the importance of culture come together, no? And then, of course, I think there is a lot of potential for actual exchange between the communities of the different cities, but of course, in the end, for sure, it will depend on the specific, the specific importance that the individual cities give to the initiative, no? Because it's one thing, of course, to participate, the other one is to use this opportunity and its transformative potential to really encourage exchange, no? So I think it's important that it exists. It has a very meaningful potential for cultural exchange and for dialogue in the end. And then, of course, it will depend, I guess, how much we come from this symbolic to the practical dimension is then in the end, for sure, the job, so to speak, of the local actors involved. But I, as far as I'm aware, there are many cities who do really use this initiative, and I think that's a good achievement for sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all. I would say, if I can add something, so we have heard, speaking of a thesis project, Creative Cities is very interesting because it's about cities that usually have also other, let's say, built heritage. Think of Rome that has the cinema activities. Yes. So it's not about what you have, it's what about what you want to do. Okay, the Creative Cities in a way is about management, is about policies of the city, not just what it has inherited from the past. What do we want to build? So it's quite interesting. Thank you so much. And so we spoke, now we switch to the other research activity that we are presenting. And in this case, thank you so much, Christophe, because it's a real pleasure clear to have you here for 3 months researching. And even though we did not know each other when you first wrote to me, now we are getting on very well working together. So it's I'm very happy of this initiative you took to contact me.
Totally my pleasure. Thank you very much for having me here.
But this is clearly a research activity of a young researcher, young professor, but anyway, of a person who has written a book, who is a number of articles, who is in a way well in a thread of research and teaching activities. The second research activity we speak of, we are not live. With that, it's a recorded contribution, but the protagonist is linked with us, so we can have a few words later on, is a Master of Art thesis of the Tourism Strategy, Cultural Heritage and Made in Italy Master of Arts, from which all the 5 students we have in the internship come. It has been discussed 2 days ago. Okay. And it's about an intangible cultural element from Iran, I don't spoil, let's say, what we will listen to, but it's interesting because we decided that even though it was a Master of Art thesis, so in fact a student activity, we could say, but it was also involving research through a questionnaire, and it's very well deepened. And so Professor Angela Dorazio, who is the supervisor of this thesis, and me, who I am the co-supervisor, together with Madiet, who is the student who wrote the thesis, recorded this presentation about this intangible cultural element. And now we see it. Good morning. We have the pleasure to be here with our student, Madiet Safi, to speak about a thesis work, the Master of Art thesis work. Professor Angela Dorazio and I have supervised her thesis work. So, Madiet, you have the word.
Good morning and thank you for having me. درود به همگی و باعث افتخار منه که امروز در دانشگاه روم تور ورگاتا به مناسبت روز جهانی تنوع فرهنگی برای گفتگو و توسعه حضور دارم.
Could you tell us about your thesis, Madiet?
Sure. The thesis is about Naqali, which explores how it can be safeguarded and developed as a part of Iranians' intangible cultural heritage. Naqali is one of the oldest forms of dramatic storytelling in Iran. It combines narration, performance, voice, gesture, emotions, memory, and audience interaction. Traditionally, it was performed in coffee houses, public spaces, and cultural gatherings. The performer, known as the Naqal, tells heroic, historical, epical, and ethical stories, often connected to Shahnameh, the Book of the Kings, the great Persian epic written by Ferdowsi. For me, Naqali represents a living connection between Iranian literature, collective memory, and cultural identity. Through Naqali, stories of heroes, justice, courage, loyalty, suffering, resistance, and moral choices have been transmitted for centuries. These stories helped preserve Persian language, Iranian history, and culture. For this reason, Naqali is not only an artistic performance, no, it is also a culture mechanism through which Iranian identity has been narrated, remembered, and transmitted across generations. The Naqal does not only repeat a text, they recreate it every time through the body, voice, facial expression, dramatic movements, and the text, everything. One interesting point I found in my research is that in the past, audience could sometimes influence the performance, for example, by giving money to the Naqal to change direction or even ending of the story. For example, if they don't like the ending of the story, they give money to change the ending, like save someone's life, or they like to two person married to each other, so they give money for that. This shows how strongly Naqali was once connected to the society. I think with good safeguarding and development policies, this social engagement could be revived also today. Also, I can say in my thesis, I first discussed how the concept of cultural heritage has changed over time. In the past, heritage was mainly understood as monuments, historical buildings, and objects. Today, especially after the UNESCO 2003 Convention for the Safeguarding of Intangible Cultural Heritage, heritage is also arts, rituals, knowledge, skills, and cultural expressions passed from generation to generation. Then I examined the richness of Iranian culture, Iranian's cultural policies, the historical development of Naqali, its current situation, existing safeguarding policies, and its potential for cultural tourism and heritage preservation. I also look at the international examples of how other countries safeguard their own cultural traditions. Based on the analysis, I developed a set of strategies for safeguarding and developing Naqali. Finally, I tested the hypothesis through a survey to understand whether they were valid and could be effective also in practice or not.
And what challenges does Nakali face today?
Nakali was inscribed in 2011 on UNESCO's list of intangible cultural heritage in need of urgent safeguarding. This recognition is very important because it shows that Nakali is internationally recognized as a valuable culture. But at the same time, it is also known that this tradition is in need of uh, urgent safeguarding. This point is a center of my thesis. Recognition is important, but recognition alone is not enough. I think a living tradition cannot survive only because it is registered on a list. It survives when people continue to listen to it, practice it, watch it, support it, and feel connected to it. It survives when it remains meaningful in contemporary life. One of the main problem is a gap between official recognition and real public engagement. In the other word, Nakali may be recognized as a heritage, but the real question is how can it be alive? How can it remain alive? The question becomes even more meaningful today on the World Day for Cultural Diversity, for Dialogue and Development. Today, Nakali faces serious challenges. Cinemas, modern entertainment, television, social media, and digital platforms have changed the way people engage with stories. Younger generation often have less direct connect with tradition, performance forms. I can say the spaces where Nakali was historically performed, such as coffee houses and local cultural gatherings, no longer have the same social rule and value they once had. As a result, this economic pressure can weaken the continuity of Nakali as performance, may be forced to leave this tradition and unfortunately seek for another forms of work in order to just survive and live their lives.
And how is Nakali related to cultural diversity and dialogue?
I believe this day is more relevant now than ever, especially in a world where many societies are experiencing conflict, displacement, cultural loss, misunderstanding, and the weakening of cultural memory. Cultural diversity is not simply about just celebrating different clothes, foods, music, or languages. Of course, they are important, but cultural diversity, in my opinion, it's deeper than that. It is about recognizing that every culture has its own way of remembering, its own way of telling the truth, its own way of expressing pain, hope, beauty, justice, and identities. It's about understanding that the dialogue begins when we just listen to the stories of each other. So Nakali is not only about the past, it can speak to the present, it can remind us that the cultural heritage is also a moral memory. It carries lessons that are not limited to one country or one historical period, although Naqali belongs deeper to Iranian culture, its message can speak to people all around the world. In this sense, intangible cultural heritage such as Naqali can become even a bridge between cultures. It allows us to understand that stories are not only for entertainment, stories are a form of wisdom. They can speak about power, dignity, resistance, love, and human values. One example, one stories, which is one of my favorites of Naqali, is the story of Zahak, one of the famous stories from Shahnameh, which is narrated through Naqali, as I said. Zahak is a cruel ruler who takes power and begins to kill people in order to remain in control. In the story, his violence creates fear, suffering, injustice across his land, and he sacrificed innocent people for his own survival and his own power. But the story does not end with the silence. At the end, Zahak defeated. The people not remain silent forever. Resistance, courage, and justice finally raised against him. Another story is the story of Gorda Farid, a powerful story from also the book of the King's Shahnameh. Gorda Farid is a brave Iranian warrior woman. When the enemy army attacks, she does not hide or wait for others to defeat her land. She goes to the battlefield and fights with the courage against Sohrab, one of the strongest warriors. This story shows that courage is not only limited to men. Gorda Farid represents bravery, wisdom, and the love for homeland, in my opinion. I think through Naqali, her story can still speak to us today, especially about women's strength, resistance, and the power of standing up when you don't have any freedom or when the danger is coming. The Shahnameh was completed, just imagine, Shahnameh was completed more than 1,000 years ago, in a world where in that time women often had fewer public freedoms and fewer chances to appear as warriors or leaders. Yet Ferdowsi gives us Gorda Farid to look after. For me, this makes the story very powerful today. Another story is the story of another famous story is a story of Rostam and Sohrab. This is one of the most tragic stories of Shahnameh. A father and a son meets on the battlefield without knowing that they are family. So Rostam kills Sohrab before discovering the truth that they are family, they are father and son. Moreover, my research shows that Naqali should not be seen only as a local or a national heritage element. Its stories are rooted in Iran, but the human meanings inside them, I think, are universal. This is why Naqali has potential not only for Iranian cultural tourism, but also for intercultural dialogue.
بیازاریم سودمندی گزین که این است آیینان فرجام دین.
The Naqals usually pick the stories to be told, or rather acted, from the classical Persian literature or the folklore of the diverse communities scattered throughout the territory. However, since Ferdowsi composed his epic masterpiece, the Shahnameh in the 11th century, tales from Shahnameh began to top the performances in that their audience demanded so.
شد چه جهانگیر کران تا کران، تاله او تاله فیروز بود، وقت شکارش همه نوروز بود. شکارچی قابلی بود، فتح کنان بود به 100 فر و ناز. یه روز شکار خوبی کرد رو سوی منزلگه خود.
And what did your research find and what strategies do you suggest?
Naqali can help international audiences discover Iranian culture in a more human and meaningful way. It can show that Iranian heritage is not only historical monuments, architectures. Iranian heritage is also living performance and storytelling. To explore this potential, my research combines theoretical analysis with a survey. As I mentioned, the survey was distributed to Iranian respondents with academic background in tourism and cultural heritage. In total, we collected 64 valid responses. The survey focused on several main dimensions: awareness of Naqali, perception of its cultural and tourism value, and willingness to participate in its development, and also support for safeguarding and strategies. The findings were very interesting. First, awareness of Naqali was only moderate. This means that many people have heard about it, but their knowledge is not deep, direct, or connected to personal experience like the old time. This is the problem. Second, the perception of Naqali's cultural and tourism value was high. Respondents strongly recognize Naqali as an important element of Iranian intangible cultural heritage, and also as a potential resource for cultural tourism. Third, interest and willingness to participate in its development were also high. This suggests that people may be open to engaging with Naqali if it is presented in accessible, meaningful, and contemporary ways, so that they can touch the area. People may know that a tradition exists, but knowledge does not automatically create engagement. I think support for safeguarding strategies were connected more strongly to get value and personal interest. So we have to use the strategies that get more engagement and are more connected to contemporary life of people now. Also, we could not only tell people that Naqali exists. We should create experiences that, as I say, make them feel why it matters. For example, Naqali could be introduced more actively in schools or universities. It could be performed in public art places, museums, cultural centers, heritage festivals. It could be connected to storytelling workshops, theater education, and cultural programs. It could also be presented to international visitors as a way to understand Iranian culture beyond the stereotypes. At the same time, I think we should be careful about the development strategies because tourism can be helpful by giving it visibility, economic supports, and new audiences. But tourism can also be harmful and can damage if it transferred just to entertainment and just for I can say the money. Naqali should be developed, but without losing its authenticity, cultural meaning, and connection to its own community. At the end, according to my research, the most supported strategies include updating Naqali in every aspect while preserving its authenticity, designing a special Naqali Day, teaching and performing Naqali in schools and universities, in academic areas, performing it in cultural venues such as museum, and documenting it in both digital and non-digital formats.
And do you have any final words you would like to share with us, Madje?
Sure. برای من صحبت کردن درباره نقالی و در این روز راهیه که بتونم بخشی از ایران رو به این فضای مشترک بیارم. این یعنی میراث فرهنگی ایران فقط باستانی نیست یا دور از امروز و دور از ما نیست. این داستان‌ها هنوز هم اهمیت دارن و مثل داستان ضحاک در زندگی واقعی مدام دارن در تمام نقاط جهان تکرار میشن و در ایران منم داره تکرار میشه. داستان‌های نقالی از دید من میتونن با جوونا صحبت کنن، میتونن با جهان ارتباط برقرار کنن، میتونن با پژوهشگرا سخن بگن و میتونن پلی باشن میان گفتگو بین فرهنگ‌ها. برای من نقالی فقط یک موضوع پژوهشی نیست. نقالی صدایی از فرهنگ منه. I think نقالی is a voice from my culture. و امروز با به اشتراک گذاشتن اون در اینجا امیدوارم که این صدا بخشی از گفتگویی گسترده تر و ادامه دارتر درباره هویت ایرانی بشه. در آخرم مایلم تشکر کنم از پروفسور فدریکا موچی و پروفسور آنجلا دوراتسیو و تیمشون که به من این فرصت رو دادن که بتونم اینجا صحبت کنم و باعث افتخار من بود که امروز در ایونت روز جهانی تنوع فرهنگی حضور داشته باشم و بخشی از میراث فرهنگی ایران رو به اشتراک بذارم. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madje, for your contribution to the World Day. And bye, everyone.
Bye.
So here we're back live, and Ambassador Fondi has joined me, and he will conclude just to introduce the new face we see for the moment. Well, we have Madje connected. I would like to say just a few words with her because she has got her degree day before yesterday here in Rome, but now she's back to Milan. So hi, Madje.
Hello, everyone, and good morning.
Oh, we don't hear you? Okay. Okay, working? Okay, try again.
Good morning.
Does the stream work on this? Try to speak, Maria.
Good morning.
Now we hear you.
Okay.
A lot more, unfortunately. Try
Good
again.
morning. Now it's, well, okay.
Yes.
I would like to thank again Professor Federica Mucci, Professor Doratio, my supervisor, and again Professor Federica Mucci, my co-supervisor.
Not too much.
Thank you.
No, thank you, Maria.
Thank you for this opportunity. I really would like to end with a moment of silence for the great Iranians who have lost their lives on the 8th and 9th of January for the culture that you saw, the Iranian identity and our freedom. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. And now, to work on this, we have a lot of people working on this. I have to thank all of them, clearly. I forgot to say that the editing of this recording was done by Amer to begin with. But now we switch to another topic, the new one for this year. And this year we have a new topic that is about given names, but this work began last autumn. We conceived it with another group of students. We brought it forward with this group of students, and we will work again on it next autumn and on other items with another group of students. Now you can come here just a moment. And so we have, later on we will see it with 3 students, well, 2 students, but one is added because we'll work on it next autumn. You say you are?
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Yuning Su from Taiwan, and I'm happy to be here. I will work for the project starting in autumn this year.
Thank you, Nina. This is to show that generations of students are working on this project. I'm very happy of that. But to begin with, we have connected a colleague who helped us to shape this idea last autumn. I'm very happy to have a few words with her. Claudia Roberta Combei, can you reach us?
Yeah, hello everyone, and congratulations on organizing such a nice event.
So happy to see you. So just can you tell why I contacted you and what we asked from you last autumn?
Yeah, I was very happy to be contacted by Professor Federica Mucci for a very nice type of proposal. It would sound a bit like a simple linguistic exercise, but it's more than this. Because she told me that she was thinking about this idea of giving space to names and how they are pronounced, how they are spelled, if they have any traditions, any, particular meanings, and so on and so forth. And I totally liked the idea from the very beginning. And she told me that she had a lot of students working on, not a lot of students, but some intern students that were interested in working on this topic. So we basically started from the idea that a name is often the first thing that we have to represent ourselves, to talk about our identities, and so on and so forth. So the first thing that we receive from our parents, from our family. So I like the idea that a name carries memory, family history, geography, information about maybe expectation, religion, and so on and so forth. And together we tried to conceive an activity that could be able to spell all these things. So basically we started with the idea of creating an interactive presentation in which students from our university would be able to discuss about the history, the meaning of their names, how they are spelled correctly. It could sound like, again, a simplistic, sorry, I have a cold, a simplistic linguistic exercise, but with Federica, we thought that mispronouncing a name, especially repeatedly, may seem like a form of not giving the correct weight to that name, to that person. So it could transform in some sort of invisibility. So by by doing this type of exercise, this type of presentation, we think that learning how a name is pronounced, what it means, what its history, and so on and so forth, even if it is very small, a very simple thing to do, we think that this is a very powerful act of inclusion. So I was really happy to be part of this project, which seems like the perfect thing to do for the World Day of Cultural Diversity. I don't hear you, Federica.
Thank you so much. Now, do you hear me?
Yeah.
And your advice was really precious for us. And I must say that it was everyday experience for us because we have so many foreign students in some courses. And when we go for the exams, okay, calling their names, and in other occasions, but in that occasion, always, okay? And so we say a list of things and we wonder, will they recognize their name as I said it? Because sometimes they are very difficult names. It's not so easy to read them for us, clearly. And so this was the, let's say, everyday life in the university occasion that gave us the idea to work on such important things as given names, the things that we use every day normally, but they convey so much of our culture, of our history, family history, but also country history, and also geographical general history. And so this is the new section. And I've said even too much about that. Thank you so much to Claudia Roberta for being connected. I know that you cannot stay so long, but we had the occasion to exchange these ideas. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Federica, for doing this. And I want to thank all the students that participated in this type of activity, because it is really important for us. Because I just wanted to say that internationalization is not just achieved by means of rankings, mobility programs, English taught courses, but also by these small things that make a difference to the students.
Thank you. I forgot to say that I didn't know Claudia Roberta. I searched for a colleague who works on linguistics, because clearly this is not disciplinary. We are not presenting disciplinary things, but we are at the university and we are an academic community. And if we start a new thing, clearly, if we want to have advice, we can have advice by colleagues. And so even though we are not explaining contemporary art, but we are just speaking with artists, the colleagues about contemporary art are informed about what we are doing. We are not teaching music, but the colleagues about music are informed about what we're doing and usually also engaged in some of the stages of the process. And so this is why I got to Claudia Roberta, not knowing her in advance, but then getting to know her. And this was a very good occasion. And so now we go to the poster, to the result that we can present this year first time, but we worked on it in autumn. We worked on it this spring and we can present it and we will go on. So Ulisa and Nilufar, you have the word.
Hello everyone. My name is Ulisa Abdijaparova. I come from Kyrgyzstan and I'm a student of Vergata. I was in internship cycle of autumn group. It was not only me, there were former students, and I'm very honored to be invited here to present our work. So how it started? It started with the 5 interns and Professor Mucci and Dr. Gasparo. So we brainstormed and came up with the idea that we want to create a poster that will tell about our names. So we speak with people through our names, letting know our culture that names carry. And we wanted that our poster was easy to learn, clickable, and listenable. And for that, we had a huge support of Roberta Claudia and Professor Mucci and Dr. Gasparo. And so it was developed and finalized for this year by the Spring Group that my colleague Nilüfer is going to present and demonstrate how the poster looks like now.
Here, I'm going to show the poster. Here is our poster. As you see, it has introductional part about the World Cultural Day for Dialogue and Development that is held today. And if we click soon to the next page, we can see the names. For example, if we click to Guliza, we can see in the front is how is pronounced her name, and below we can see the created Guliza. If we click on this button, we will hear the real original pronunciation of the name.
Guliza.
Spelled out by the student.
Yes, by student itself. And if we click on this button, we find out what does it mean. This is a female given name of Kyrgyz region. It symbolizes a daughter who brings a joy, harmony, and emotional warmth to the family.
And
if we click to the map more, we go directly to the special map that doesn't have any borders. We can here choose the country of Guliza, Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah, so you can enlarge it and see the word or just the country. I don't know if it's working streaming. Okay, this part when we switch to the word map. Is it?
Yes.
Perfect.
We can zoom it as much as we want and see is it cool. Here. Okay. Or see directly here. Here we have another representative, Ishti. He is from Bangladesh. Here is the pronunciation of his name. If we press, we can hear.
Ahmed.
The first name Ishti derived from Arabic word ishtiyaq, and it means deep affection or desire. It comes from Arabic root, the same as the second name of Ishti, student Ishti Ahmed. This means to praise or commend. Same as Guliza, we can click on here and go directly to the Ishti lab.
Yeah, because clearly some students said, sometimes when I say I come from name of the state, people look at me blank and they don't understand which part of the word we're speaking of. And so we decided to teach a little geography also through this poster, if we could. Okay.
Yes, this problem really exists. It's also about the Central Asia countries. When we say Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, or Kazakhstan, people don't know what exactly Central Asia is. That's why here is my name. Nilufar. Nilufar. And it means lotus or water lily. It means purity because, as we know, lotus doesn't grow in a clean water. It grows in a mud, even though it grows and white and clean and beautiful. And the map here we can see Uzbekistan. If I zoom, so in general, all this part is Central Asia. We have many other representatives of beautiful names. For example, Leila. She is from Iran and her beautiful name means night. Night not like mystery, but night like more romanticized in beautiful romantic poems of Alisher Nawai, for example.
Yeah, if you...
Leila Majnun, if you heard, yeah. It also exists in Nizami's timeless story, 105 part. Leila.
Leila.
Click back, we go back to the Iran. Here.
You are Konstantin, what do you want to say?
I was wondering how people can find this poster.
Okay, we will, clearly we have next autumn group who will work on the database. Okay, so we will work to build, a searchable database with all the contents that we are creating. Okay, this is a project we began just having the first little step, but we have to develop it with the next autumn group. Okay, and possibly also the next after that. We will see, because we are building it step by step, doing new things, but this is a step we wanted to do. It's a long time, and this is why with Claudia Roberta we decided to create an object, let's say, that is easily storable in a way and enrichable, because we want to have a searchable database with all the contents of all the editions. And this is work. This is work for my future internship students, a lot of work. Okay, but this is clearly the way to reach all the people all the times they want, because it's quite difficult that 2 hours and a half of recording, that's already available in the website of the university of all the past editions, and this one will be available very soon. Okay, but clearly a few people will see 2 hours and a half in a row of things, but if they're curious, and maybe we give them a map of the world and with some pins on it, things that we have already reached in our event, here, of this kind, of that kind, I don't know how we will shape the database. So this is the work, main work for the autumn group. Okay, thank you for your question. That was very important. Okay, thank you so much. Do you want to add something?
Yeah, I wanted to add something too.
Sure.
It's about the name. When we are asking about the name, what is your name? What does it mean? Or who gave it to you? We are becoming more personal, more intimate, especially if we know where exactly this name is used. It even broadens our knowledge about the person, about the country, about the map where it's located. And I'm very happy that I have participated in this project, and it was very enjoying. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dilufar. And this brings to me to say also that if you then, when we will have the searchable object for everyone, you will discover that the definitions, the brief descriptions that are behind are not all the same, because each student decided to say something. The first part, meaning, where it comes from, pronunciation, it's the same for everyone. But sometimes some of the students wanted to add. In my family, there was this tradition. I took this name because my uncle, because my mother read this when she was pregnant, or, you know, all the things that we know that happen all over the world. Okay, and this is exactly one of the things that we should be enjoying today, that our world is far bigger than what we usually think, but it's our world. Whatever it is, it's our word. And so names help so much in this. Thank you so much. It was our new thing for this year, but we will keep it for the future. So with this, the contents for today are done, but we are at the closure. And I thank so much Ambassador Patrizio Fondi for being with us also this year. He's an habitué now of this initiative. And so I give him the word to close it.
Okay. First of all, thanks a lot for inviting me for the fourth time, I think. So it's a long tradition.
When I said an habitué, I was not lying, as you can see. Okay.
For me, it's a great honor to celebrate with you this day, which is really important to me for many reasons. I also was I'm pleased to see that it's evolving every year in different ways. So you had always appropriately new items, for example, given names, but also the, let's say, focus you had this year on women, for example. No?
It happened.
I think it's
because it depends on the proposals, but it happened.
Because women are very important in defending cultural diversity, I think, because tradition very often are kept in a culture by women, no? Because they have the continuity, so to say. So I think it's important to acknowledge this because it's a big merit. Now, being a diplomat, of course, I'd like also to underline not only the cultural, which is very important, but also the political dimension of cultural diversity. I think that cultural diversity, as I say every year, I want to repeat it, is important, is a kind of vaccine against homologation. Because usually, because we have globalization in the world, which is an economic phenomenon, which is also useful under many aspects, but the risk is that when you have globalization, everything becomes the same. So this kind of homologation could kill the cultural diversity, the tradition, the languages, and everything. I think this is very important to keep also to defend ourselves against this risk. In addition to globalization, we have another risk coming, which is polarization. We notice in the country there are a kind of white and black, one against the other. The dialogue is more difficult. So I think cultural diversity could be a way, could be a tool in order to keep dialogue. So that's very important. So two risks, no? Homologation and polarization. This is a good vaccine. So we should keep it really carefully with us. Also, I think the real meaning of cultural diversity is that we not only we tolerate the others, the other different cultures, but also we accept them, we respect, we celebrate. So there is a positive attitude, which is more than the negative to accept, to tolerate, that's it. I want really to know you, I want to understand your point of view, your culture, because I want also to take something from your culture for my culture. So it's an exchange. That's important, not only to know, but also to exchange, having common values, because we can have for sure common values. This argument connects directly to the issue of pluralism and also human rights to some extent, because one of the most important things for cultural diversity is the freedom of expression. If you cannot make free creativity in all fields, music, theater, cinema, and so on, you cannot have cultural diversity. So this is also a connection, which is very important. So pluralism, I think it's absolutely important to fight against the one-type thinking, which is a risk in all countries, all over the world. So it's something that especially young people should understand, because you should be critical when you receive an information, when you receive some data, because these data, of course, are always, to some extent, even unconsciously biased. So you should have your own ideas and not to accept everything as given. Even a book which is printed could be criticized because you can write even mistakes. Okay, so that's important. The same for a video, the same for every media. Now, it's clear that I think it's very important to have in this picture also research. As you also this year you had a section with our friend from Germany about research. I think research is absolutely crucial for cultural diversity. It's one of the three pillars, if you want, of democracy. University is research, the second pillar is media, and the third pillar is judiciary. If you have these three pillars, usually you have an open society. So I think there is a connection that also is very important. Let me also make a little nostalgic souvenir of our fight together, because maybe you know that we were together in the negotiation in 2005 in UNESCO, in the Italian delegation, in the framework of the EU delegation, in order to negotiate the Convention on Cultural Diversity. It was a fight quite epic, I would say, because there was a big conflict between one side, United States, and the other side, the rest of the world, so to say, especially European. And first of all, the French government was really fighting a lot, and we supported this fighting. Because the Americans, as you know, they have also today, but in the past even more, a strong cultural influence throughout many, let's say, channels. For example, Hollywood movies. It was creating in Europe maybe the education of some generation in Europe, the Hollywood movies.
You know, Patrizio, I think that this was very real in 2005.
Yes.
Possibly not so much today. Is it real?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. The soft power of the United States is fading away in this period.
But also, let's say Hollywood as the main reference for us. Sorry for interrupting, but I was wondering, okay, that 20 years have gone and it was so real when we were fighting. Maybe if we had today this fight, the world would be the same, because the economical implications of this are there. Okay, but it's not so real that the US cinema is so. I don't know. Well, we could open a debate on that.
Yeah, but
okay, sorry for interrupting.
We still have blockbusters from the United States, but
Sure.
also the other countries are reacting.
Yes, are reacting.
So now there is more plurality. No, I think that's important. And on that fight, the Americans try to postpone the approval of the convention. So at a certain point, the South African president of the negotiating commission decided to make a change. He said, okay, we can discuss because we should give our opinions, but at the end of the day, after discussing one article of the convention, we should vote. Panic in the US delegation, because they understood that it was the end of their tactic to postpone, but the South African president applied this rule. So in 1 month, more or less, we succeeded in having the approval, and always this say vote were 1 or 2 against maybe 180 countries on the other side. So the side of Europe and other countries won, and we had the Cultural Diversity Convention. So I think it was an important moment. United States, they were out of UNESCO. They entered again exactly to fight this battle, but they lost. As you know, then they went out again, they came back again, and now Trump decided to go out again. So it's a kind of drama or comedy, if you want. It depends how you take it. But in any case, just to make you understand the importance for them economically and everything. Also, let me underline one thing that sometimes people are not aware of: artificial intelligence. In artificial intelligence, cultural diversity is very important, because when you have the software at the origin of one artificial intelligence, for example, Claude, which is the most fashionable now, you have a culture behind this. So if you have only one software for artificial intelligence, you don't have a real cultural diversity. So the hope is that we don't have only the big tech traditional one, but we should develop everywhere, in Europe, in other continents, in all countries, something which is local, in order to give a contribution and to make real the contribution of different culture to this future mechanism, because that's very important. If you accept only one, let's say, pattern, this is impoverishing our possibility and our, let's say, capacity to exploit and to make research and so on. So I think we should keep in mind this every time, also with when we use that. And the last thing I want to say is that even religion acknowledged the importance of cultural diversity, to the point that when I was ambassador in the United Arab Emirates, European ambassador, I was pleased to see that when Pope Francis came for a visit, and they met with different religious leaders, including Al-Tayeb, the leader, the Muslim leader from Al-Azhar, from Egypt, which is one of the most important Muslim leaders. Actually, they signed a declaration on fraternity. In this declaration, they said something which was very important for me. They said, God wanted to have more religion, not only one, because God evidently considered diversity as a richness. So this is a concept which is not so for granted. I never heard that before. If religion can reason in this way, also, let's say, violence, terrorism could be a bit defeated, because this is the will of God, to have different religions, so they are not enemy. So when we speak about, let's say, cultural diversity, we should understand that we speak not about diversity as a threat, but diversity as richness and friendship. And this is a lesson coming from the like, but also from religion people. So I hope that we can keep celebrating with days like this forever, although I don't think I should be forever, but at least to have the work by Federica going on for many years, because you're making really a valuable initiative to remember people that diversity is not a threat, but is a richness. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much, Patrizio. Your words were very important, beautiful, and important, I think. But I want to add that Ambassador Fondi is ambassador, okay. He was ambassador of Italy and also of the European Union, but he's also part of the this academic community, because now he teaches in Tor Vergata. And so he's not only ambassador, he's also professor Fondi here for us, okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everybody, especially the students who worked so hard for this day. I'm so happy, sono così felice di aver avuto quest'altra edizione. Ci vedremo alla prossima, ma noi continueremo a lavorare tutto l'anno. Buona giornata mondiale della diversità culturale per il dialogo e lo sviluppo a tutti. Da Tor Vergata, dall'Università degli Studi di Roma, Tor Vergata.